welcome Dr. Kudva to My Legend podcast.
Today, we have on My Legend podcast a prominent educator and principal of a leading school in Mumbai, Dr. Pramila Kudva, joining us. Armed with a PhD in education, Dr. Kudva had begun her career as a teacher before moving on to fruitful stints in the corporate world, before she plunged right back to her first passion, education.
As a teacher or a principal, I use this quite often in a lighter vein. Kitne log the?
Dr. Kudva is also the recipient of several awards and recognition, notable among which she has been recognized as one of the top 10 mentors and educators by the AIM Awards of 2016. The International Business Council has also conferred upon Dr. Kudva Best Educationist. Dr. Kudva has published several research papers in prestigious journals. She has participated in conferences, panel discussions, forums, and masterclasses related to education. Dr. Kudva is a well-known personality among educators, mentors, and the student community across the country. She has authored a book, From Chalk to Talk, and has even started a podcast of her own titled A Story for Your Query. Amidst a busy schedule, Dr. Kudva remains a cinephile and shows a different side of her persona to listeners and viewers on My Legend podcast.
ವಿವಾಹ ಭೋಜನವಿದು ವಿಚಿತ್ರ ಭಕ್ಷ್ಯಗಳಿವು ಬೀಗರಿಗೆ ಔತಣವಿದು ಇದುವೇ ಸುಸಂಧಿಯು and then we had fun.
Let's welcome Dr. Pramila Kudva.
Thank you so much for taking time off from your busy schedule and joining us here. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Shanteri. It's a pleasure.
So, Dr. Kudva, as we know, this is a very, very cinema-oriented and popular culture-oriented country. And My Legend podcast, kind of feeds off cinephiles, who are fond of music, or fond of film music and movies. So let me jump right into my first question. What is your earliest recollection of any movie that you watched way back? Can you jog your memory and recall anything at all?
I must have been about 11 years old. At that time, we were staying in a place called Nanjangud, which is a little away from Mysore. And there were 2 theaters, I remember. And we used to watch Tamil movies. I remember Tai Kattatanayan. That was one of the movies that I watched. MGR and M.R. Radha. I think B. Saroja Devi was the heroine at that time. And I also remember Nenjalore Alyam, which I think got made in Hindi later on, The Lake Mandir.
Yes.
That is another movie that I remember.
Okay.
And not to leave Kannada part behind, I remember Gejje Pooja.
Right.
That's one movie which made waves. And Kalpana, I think, acted marvelously in that movie. But there was one part which all of us students, we kept arguing about, wondering whether the producer or the director had done enough research to find out. Because they said, I don't remember whether she swallowed the diamond or she powdered it or whatever. Either way, it is incorrect scientific data. Because when you swallow a diamond, nothing happens to you. It will pass out through the stools. And if you're trying to powder it, it's one of the hardest substances. You can't powder it like that. So this is something we used to debate when we were children.
Good. So a movie made you actually go back and look into the science of it all. Good. Great memories. Actually, Gejje Pooja is such a wonderful classic. Then, was there a particular time when you actually developed a real interest in movies? Like, the recollection that goes beyond childhood memories. Do you have any such memories of, your teenage or then a little beyond into, your young adulthood?
Movies have always been a part of life. And we used to, when we came back from school, we were hungry. So what do we do? Shivappa Kayo Tande, we would sing that song. I don't know if you remember the lyrics. Shivappa Kayo Tande Mrepoka Swami Deva Hasile and Talalare Kapadeya. And particularly for Ganpati festival, a lot of goodies used to be cooked, and then it would be like, ವಿವಾಹ ಭೋಜನವಿದು ವಿಚಿತ್ರ ಭಕ್ಷ್ಯಗಳಿವು ಬೀಗರಿಗೆ ಔತಣವಿದು ಇದುವೇ ಸುಸಂಧಿಯು, and then ha 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 ha. We had fun.
ವಿವಾಹ ಭೋಜನವಿದು ವಿಚಿತ್ರ ಭಕ್ಷ್ಯಗಳಿವು ಬೀಗರಿಗೆ ಔತಣವಿದು ದೊರಕೊಂಡಿತನೆಗೆ ಬಂದು.
It was good, and there was always an atmosphere of reading, and so and so's book got translated, so and so's book has been made into a movie, and that kind of an atmosphere existed at home. It was fun. It was more of, not from the point of view of appreciating a movie, but from the point of view of enjoying it.
Absolutely. So it was that moment which really mattered. You're kind of stating some of the gems of old Kannada movies of the 50s and 60s. I'm absolutely thrilled. Any song that you used to like otherwise hum, as you grow on? You were mentioning some songs from Leelavati as well.
Oh, yes. ದೋಣಿ ಸಾಗಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಲಿ ದೂರ ತೀರವ ಸೇರಲಿ, ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
ದೋಣಿ ಸಾಗಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಲಿ ದೂರ ತೀರವ ಸೇರಲಿ ಬೀಸುಗಾಳಿಗೆ.
So now we know that you're a singer as well. So what do you recall, or do you have like this all-time favorite movie? Do you have this all-time favorite film, legend, some actor that you thought, okay, if I don't watch this person's movies, sigh, did you have any such person?
So I was a teenager, and Aradhana was released. I saw Aradhana 3 times. Oh, Rajesh Khanna was a great romantic hero.
Okay.
Yeah, and that scene where which was actually, I believe, shot separately. Sharmila Tagore in the train and the jeep with Rajesh Khanna traveling, they were shot separately and they were merged together later on. But we were not to know that. Oh, we loved it. We loved it. When I say we, I mean me and my girlfriends. We were all, what shall I say? We had a solid crush over Rajesh Khanna.
So did your infatuation for Rajesh Khanna continue over a period of time?
For a short time, because I got married early. So it was killed there.
Okay, so you didn't continue to watch.
I watched. I continued to watch, but the so-called infatuation, they didn't grow. It got killed.
Okay, the affections changed. Okay, so which, according to you, was Rajesh Khanna's all-time best performance? Do you have a favorite dialogue, scene from any of his films?
Yes. Amar Prem.
Amar Prem, okay, and why?
Was my favorite. I thought, Gejje Puje was more or less along the same lines as this.
Absolutely, the female protagonist.
Yes, it was more or less the same. But there she kills herself. Here is one who is really, who cares for her. And particularly that song, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, छोड़ो बेकार की बातों को. Then I don't remember what it was.
कहीं बीत न जाए रहना.
कहीं बीत न जाए रहना. It was beautiful. So let people say what they have to say. Let's do what we ought to do.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful. That's one thing I really remember. And the famous dialogue, Pushpa, I hate tears. I think this is something we have heard.
मैंने तुमसे कितनी बार कहा है पुष्पा, मुझसे ये आंसू नहीं देखे जाते. I hate tears.
I think we end up using it with or without our knowledge, even in day-to-day situations. So we find people crying, we just say, I hate tears.
But Shantari, I also have another favorite of mine, as a teacher or a principal, I use this quite often in a lighter vein. कितने लोग थे?
Surely.
Particularly when children get into trouble,
Absolutely.
and the teachers come all worked up. So one way to diffuse the situation is to say कितने लोग थे?
Awesome, awesome. As you moved on into the real world, did you nurse this whole desire to act, Dr. Kudva? Did you have this acting bug within you?
Yes, I did during the school and the college days. But as I said, my husband is a cradle snatcher. It was an arranged marriage, no doubt. But early marriage, early children, all that kind of took a toll over some of these desires. Maybe now after retirement, I can pick it up.
Oh, yes. Now that you have started pursuing other interests, I think acting should not be a deterrent either. You should just go all out. Have you ever met any of these movie legends, or is there someone you wanted to meet, but you felt, okay, the ship has sailed. Now there's no point in wanting to look at that person?
Two Bollywood actors whom I admired, Kumar.
Okay, one, if I venture a guess, was Rajesh Khanna. And who was the other one?
Sanjeev Kumar.
Ah, yes, another great.
Yeah, his acting ability was
Phenomenal.
Yes, I remember that song which was picturized on Anubhav.
Absolutely.
Where he says, "Meri jaan, mujhe jaana kaho, meri jaan."
Meri Jaan, yes.
Tanuja and Sanjeev Kumar.
मेरी जान मुझे जान कहो मेरी जान मेरी जान मेरी जान मुझे जान कहो मेरी
Oh my God! There was so much of love. There was so much of romance. There was so much that was said just by the facial expressions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely. And Anubhav was a great movie as well.
Amazing.
Right.
So
True.
what the facial expression didn't say, even the eyes spoke about it.
Absolutely. I thought it was one of the best picturized, most sublimely sensual songs ever
Absolutely.
picturized.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the Andi is another one.
Absolutely. Yes. Is there, so you're such a busy professional, Dr. Kudva. You have, of course, even now during these times that we've gone online and the world has gone virtual, I'm very sure you've kept yourself extremely busy. But even prior to that, you've had a very round the clock schedule. Where do you catch your movies? Where do you actually catch your movies?
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. And have you been a avid theatre goer in recent years?
No.
Okay. But Netflix. So what have you really watched in Netflix in recent times?
The past 6 months even more, past 1 year. The lockdown period has really killed my free time because there is no personal time anymore. Earlier, it was that I would leave for school at a certain fixed time, come back home. After that was me time. Now there is no me time. There are times when I get a call at 10 o'clock in the night and emails coming in. It came to a point the other day, I just wrote to some of them. I said, after 10:30, please don't send any emails because then I'm tempted to answer. It's not good for you. It's not good for me.
Absolutely. The work-life balance goes absolutely haywire. So, you are a prominent educator. You have your own student following, and you have a lot of teachers across the country who kind of look up to you. You've also authored a book from Chalk to Talk, and now you've also taken to podcasting and you're building your own community of people who kind of watch your capsules, listen to your capsules, and watch what you have to offer. So, what is it that you have as a message to the audiences here or to the people that you generally address, Dr. Kudva?
It's not a message per se, but what I believe in is there is something that you can take from movies when you look at it from the point of view of education or learning. For instance, from Tare Zameen Par, we can use that Tare Zameen Par to bring in a sensitivity towards the children who are differently abled.
शायद इसलिए कि वो नाम इतना महान नहीं, लेकिन तकलीफ उसे भी वही है.
You know, and if you're going to look at sports and emotions, I've done these things. That's why I'm telling you. I in a workshop when I had to talk about emotions and sports, I used Bhag Milka Bhag. And when he is running the race, he picks up speed, but then he has an emotional baggage. That emotional baggage makes him lose his speed and he loses out. So the emotions have a say as far as sports are concerned. Three Idiots and Munna Bhai MBBS. There are so many movies, and a number of movies. Harry Potter. I've used Harry Potter to bring in vocabulary.
Stick your right hand over the broom and say up. Once you've got hold of your broom, I want you to mount it and grip it tight. You don't want to be sliding off the end.
When the children are bored, you want to bring in a kind of a stimulus variation. So I use that clipping of Harry Potter, where the professor is teaching them to swish and to, use that, what is that called? Flick. Swish and flick. And he's teaching them to levitate. Now, I showed the clipping. Now, there are three words that I need to teach them: levitate, swish, and flick. So then you can use different examples and teach vocabulary. That makes it a little interesting and it brings in a stimulus variation. So there is, when you want to teach, when you want to learn, there is always something which comes up and we don't want to lose that learning moment.
Absolutely. So you kind of leveraged cinema very effectively to bring it into education. I think these are great examples. And I think it's also a great eye-opener for a lot of educators who actually grapple with how to connect with younger people. So what is the next movie on your watch list, Dr. Kudva?
I have not been following the movies, as I said, Shanteri. I need to, but I'm waiting for the schools to reopen.
Okay. Yes.
So that I can get some me time.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for kind of giving your time, giving your sharing some fantastic memories from Kannada, Tamil and Hindi cinema. I think you kind of walked us through some fascinating memories from the past, and more power to your new passions as you move on and kind of transcend to newer things in life. So thank you so much, Dr. Kudva, for being part of this episode. I look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you, Shanteri. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.